to begin by rooting us all in a definition of other support, I find myself referring to this often, particularly when I'm discussing with investigators, because I want them to understand what is other support. And it's all resources made available to support an individual's research endeavors. So that includes things that are money. It includes traditional kind of grant or sponsored research funding. And it includes things that are in kind. So people, access to equipment, lab space, et cetera. So we're going to get really deep into what is required so that you all have an understanding of what you need to communicate to your PIs and what they then need to disclose in their materials. But first, why? Why would the agencies be interested in this? Well, not only has NSPM 33 and other directives required the agencies to look at this information, but the agencies are interested specifically in understanding things like scientific and budgetary overlap. They want to know that they're not funding the same project multiple times. Effort commitments. Does an investigator really have the time that they have supposed that they have to do this scale of work? Who are the collaborators? Are there any foreign entities that we need to be aware of, or other domestic collaborators that might create a conflict of interest? Ensure compliance with federal regulations, of course, and support any risk-based analysis and oversight that may be needed for the project. So this gives you a look at what the agencies might be looking at when you submit, or when your investigators submit their other support disclosure forms. Most of us are familiar with who is required to disclose other support and at what time point in the grant management lifecycle. So just to cover it and be very clear, it is key personnel who are required to submit other support documentation, and that is whether or not they draw salary support. So if they are cost sharing their effort, they are still required to provide other support disclosures. And then at what time point, for most agencies, that would be at the proposal stage. We submit other support documentation along with the application for funding. NIH is a little bit different. Those other support documents are due at the just-in-time phase, which is before award, and also at the RPPR, or progress report stage, when there is a disclosure required if other support has changed since the last reporting period, or usually a year ago. There are a few exceptions to that in the NIH space, and we've noted them here, but for the most part, it's going to be after submission that those documents are required.